but like, fuck, bitch. Hi guys, so welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing well during this quarantine. I really hope that all of you guys are healthy and safe. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing, and if you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming back time and time again. So you're on this video because you searched for something like Boston apartments or moving to Boston or Boston apartment hunting. So this is why I'm making this video today. I moved to Boston in 2018, like around November, and these are the things I wish I had known before moving here, things that would have helped me, made my transition a little easier. So before jumping into this, I just want to tell you guys that if you're interested in finding out what sort of apartments you can find in Boston, there is a previous video that I've already made. It's called Sweet Digs, what $1,500 will get you in Boston, and I'll put a link down below, and I'll also put it in end screen. So if you want to look at a specific apartment that you can get for like around $1,500, that's your video. But in this video, we're going to talk about the four main questions I had before moving to Boston. Let's start with number one, which is transportation. So I'm going to be completely honest with you. Pre-pandemic times, I would have said do not bring your car, because the public transportation system, the MBTA, is still reliable. In fact, it's still running. It's not like they have shut down the public transportation system. It's still going, but it's going on right now at a reduced capacity or at a reduced frequency because of the pandemic. If it was pre-pandemic times, I would have said do not bring your car if you already have a car. But right now, having a car has actually been good. Because when I want to go to shopping, I can just take my car to the grocery store, pile my stuff in, and bring it back. So if like you're moving here this fall, and if there are certain social distancing things that are going to continue, I would say now with the changed reality, yes, bring your car. So before pandemic, you could have done without it. Now if you have it, it would be good to bring it. If you don't have it, don't worry about it too much. There are also downsides of having or bringing a car here in Boston. So the moment you come in, you would have to buy Massachusetts plates or something like that. You would have to register your car. If you're living in certain neighborhoods like the one I live in, like Brighton, then you would have to get a resident permit, and to get a resident permit, you would have to have a Massachusetts license plate. So there are downsides to bringing a car here. That resident permit has to be renewed every year. In Massachusetts, your car has to be inspected every year. So there are a lot of like kind of nuances of bringing a vehicle already in Massachusetts. It's doable, but there are certain costs that come up with it every year, and then there are certain things that you just have to keep in mind. Like also in certain neighborhoods, there is street cleaning. So every like second or third Friday, you would have to move your car from like, you know, this side of the street to the other side, and vice versa. So there are nuances that keep coming up. So if you are deciding that you are bringing a car, I would recommend you to look into if your neighborhood requires a resident permit, if it requires you to have your car inspected, and what are the street cleaning policies, and where should you park your car. So that's about the transportation part of it. Now for number two, which is how to go about right now finding an apartment in Boston online. So the way I found my apartment, I was in Iowa in 2018, so I did it all remotely. So I was looking for apartments online, and the one website that I found my apartment through, it's called hotpads.com. I'm gonna write it here, and I'm also gonna link it down below. So go on hotpads.com and look at apartments in Boston. It's a really good resource. The other two websites that I really recommend are apartments.com, obviously, and the third one is Zillow. Now my thing with Zillow is that I've only seen apartments there that are kind of expensive. I feel like Hotpads was one of those sites where I could find apartments that are relatively cheaper, and not to say that they were gross or something. I love my apartment, and that's the website I found it through. The downside of going through these websites is that you're probably going through a realtor or a broker. What I mean by that is somebody's gonna help you find that apartment and help you like do these virtual showings with the current situation. They're probably gonna go there for you. They're probably gonna record the video of the apartment if they already have it. They're gonna send you those videos. They can also do live tours in which the realtor or the broker will go there and they can FaceTime you and they can show you what the apartment looks like, so things like that. And they usually charge you for that, and the charge for that, it can be kind of steep. When I moved here, my apartment rent was $1,400 and I had to pay the broker $1,400, so equivalent of 1 month's rent. So you have to kind of think about money like that. There are also some other websites that I can link down below. I can't really remember them right now, but there are websites that completely prohibit brokers to be on there, and these websites are really good because these are people who are actual people subletting their place, or they're looking for a roommate, so there is no broker involved. I looked at some of these things initially when I was planning to move to Boston, but at the end I decided I didn't want to be bothered with the roommate to begin with. So I decided to go through a broker, and it's like things that you have to decide for yourself. Now the third thing we're going to talk about that people don't really talk about moving to Boston is the neighborhoods. Whenever you move to a new city, there's so many different neighborhoods, right? For example, for Boston, I'm gonna put a map right here and you can see there's so many different neighborhoods. So where should you move to, right? I really didn't have anybody to tell me where I should move to. So these are my tips for depending on what school you're going to or depending on what field you're gonna be working in. I'll tell you where you should think about moving. The thing with Boston is that there are a lot of schools. I can start naming them. There's MIT, there's Harvard, there is Boston University, there's Boston College, there's Northeastern, there's Tufts. So like the list goes on. There's so many different schools here, and I get it that undergrads probably live in dorms, but you can be an undergrad who's moving here and doesn't want to live in dorms anymore this fall, or you could be a grad student, right? You can be a grad student moving to one of these neighborhoods and you want to look for cheap housing. Obviously a grad student is probably not living in the dorms. And then you could also be a working professional who's working at the university. So it's really good to know where around the school is located or where your work is located, and then structure your search for an apartment like that. So let's start with Harvard and MIT. Here you can see that there is Allston and there's Charlestown, you can see here, and the big gap here in the middle, that's Cambridge. So that's where Harvard and MIT are located. So if you're going to an undergrad at Harvard, or you're working at MIT or going to undergrad at MIT, this is the neighborhood you're probably gonna want to live in. You're gonna want to live in Cambridge because you don't want to live in any of these other neighborhoods and have a long commute. Cambridge is a hub for a lot of biotech places, so if you're coming here to work at a biotech startup, again, Cambridge is the place you're gonna want to be living at. Now let's talk about Allston and Brighton, right? Just come a little this way and talk about Allston and Brighton. So what's in Allston and Brighton? The short answer is fucking nothing. But Boston College is here. So if you're a grad student at Boston College, or if you're working in Boston College, you're gonna want to live in Allston and Brighton. Let's talk about Boston University. So for Boston University, where you're gonna want to be living at is around the Fenway or the Kenmore area. This is the area that's closest to the Boston University, and again, if you're a grad student, this is around where you want to live. A downside with this area is that the prices can be a little high, but again, you can probably find a roommate. Now let's talk about Northeastern. So Northeastern is kind of close to the Longwood Medical area or the Harvard Medical School area. The difference between Harvard undergrad campus and Harvard Medical School is that the Harvard undergrad campus is located in Cambridge. That's where Harvard University is. But the Harvard Medical School, Harvard Dental School, and a lot of these other like graduate program schools, they're located in the Longwood Medical area, and that is also where Northeastern is located. So if you're going to be a working professional, if you're coming into an MD program, if you're coming into a PhD program at Harvard Medical School or at Harvard School of Public Health, or you're going to a grad program at Northeastern, you're going to want to live close to the Longwood Medical area, which on this map is basically close to the Jamaica Plain or the Mission Hill area. So don't get confused when you're coming here. If you're coming to Harvard University, don't think you're going to Cambridge. you could be coming to the medical school, or you could be coming to the graduate program school, and then you don't want to find out later that, oh my god, I found an apartment in Cambridge, but fuck, I'm gonna be working in Jamaica Plain or Mission Hill. That's what I mean by that. Another school that I mentioned was Tufts. So Tufts, you're gonna want to be living in Cambridge or Somerville because that's the closest to your university. Tufts is kind of like on the a little outside of Boston. And then there are a lot of these other neighborhoods like Beacon Hill, Back Bay, South End. These are really fun neighborhoods to live in. I can like, if you look up pictures online, I can put some pictures here. These are like really beautiful neighborhoods to live in, but like it just hasn't happened for me that they're close to where I work. So even though they are fun, I really don't want to live in an area where like it doesn't make sense for me to live in right now. But yeah, if you're gonna be working close to downtown, I would recommend looking at South End, Back Bay, Beacon Hill, something like that. Really pretty neighborhoods, and I would really recommend living there if you can afford it, for sure. So now that we're done with talking about the neighborhoods in Boston, let's talk about the fourth and the last point, which is money, right? How much money you should bring. Average studio in Boston, the range is anywhere from, I would say, around $1,500, which would probably be the lowest, to about like $2,200 or something. Studios in the Brighton area, they are around like $1,500. That's one of the studios I have. And studios in Cambridge can go for as much as like $2,200 or something. So again, depending on what area you're going to be living in, you're going to be spending a lot of money on a studio apartment. And if you're considering living with one roommate or two roommates, you can expect to pay somewhere around, again, like from at least $1,000 per month to like, again, $1,500 per month. Maybe it's a big house, or maybe it's a nice apartment that you're living in, and the rent is $3,000. So you're gonna be paying somewhere around $1,000 to $1,500 still. So my recommendation for you is, if you know you're moving to Boston, save at least the first month's rent, the last month's rent, the broker fee, and the security deposit. A lot of places will ask you at least either all four of these or at least three of the four. So let's for example say you are moving in an apartment with the monthly rental of $1,200. To reserve that apartment, there's going to be something like an application fee, which is going to be like $25, and then they're going to tell you, oh, we looked at your credit, we looked at blah blah blah, and you're approved. Now to put the apartment on hold, you have to give us the first month's rent, last month's rent, security deposit, and if you went through a broker, that would be a broker fee. So $1,200, $1,200, $1,200, $1,200. So that's $4,800, around $5,000 just for an apartment. So if you're moving here, I would recommend saving at least this much money. And then with the fact that you're gonna move here and then you're gonna work a month and then get paid, I would say if you're moving to Boston, just have some money saved, because you will be spending money. So those are some of my tips. Really, I hope this video was helpful, and then you can find something of use in this video. And I just hope everyone's staying safe and happy. And yeah, please consider subscribing. Love you. Bye.